4.6% of Australians identify as being LGBT. That's approximately 111,000 people Australia-wide. More than 7.8 million people voted yes to legalise same-sex marriage in December of 2017. Despite the Sydney electorate's response as 84% yes, New South Wales had the lowest yes vote as a result of an overwhelming no from Western Sydney electorates. The 7 highest no votes by electorate were all within Western Sydney, with no winning at least 59% in all 7 of these electorates. So is Western Sydney as homophobic as it appears? And what is being done to help change these harmful attitudes? ACON is a New South Wales-based organisation specialising in HIV prevention and support for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender and intersex individuals. Gavin Pendergast is a health promotion officer for ACON who organises the outreach within Western Sydney. Gavin believes the homophobia present in Western Sydney stems from a number of reasons.
Religiously, culturally, historically, and then the region as well. I think Western Sydney has always been known as a bit more homophobic because I think, years ago, all the gay and lesbian people moved to areas where they felt accepted and loved and included. And that just meant a drain of LGBTI people away from places like Western Sydney.
Sophia grew up in Western Sydney without the acceptance and visibility of LGBT rights. She was only able to accept her sexuality after leaving the area.
It was a lot more accepting where I was and I was able to grow and understand myself in that way, but I'm still not LGBT in Western Sydney. I just think the lack of acceptance and the lack of education about it. People really stereotype and you hear a lot of slurs and it's quite offensive and it's just not a place that I feel comfortable being out in.
Despite this bleak outlook, there are a number of initiatives emerging within the area. Brendan Mitson founded Rainbow Dance 2 years ago with a mission to provide a safe, fun and completely inclusive Latin and ballroom dance experience for all of the Rainbow community. But not without its challenges.
I think still, getting over the last vestiges of an old way of thinking and introducing the members of Western Sydney to the fact that there's things out there that they haven't seen before, and it's okay.
With great initiatives like Rainbow Dance, Gavin hopes to help those most in need.
Just for the people that might be left behind, or the people that might be suffering, who are isolated, or feel that they're on this journey on their own.
With a recent study by Western Sydney University finding that 94% of students had heard homophobic language at school, with 58% saying they hear such language daily, it is not surprising Gavin is worried about our youth.
Young people who are questioning their very essence, who they are, it's important that they see that there is a visible community near where they live, so they don't feel as isolated and alone.
Growing up in Western Sydney, Sophia understands the need for this awareness.
Statistically, you're going to have kids that are LGBT, and it's very unsafe for them, I think, to grow up in an environment where they don't understand what's going on and feel hated and alienated.
Luckily, Brendan has started noticing changes.
I definitely think the attitudes are changing, and I like what I'm seeing. I like the fact that every time I run a Rainbow Dance class or people inquire about that, they're generally excited about it and they want to know more about it because it is something new and something positive.
But I have seen massive steps, towards inclusion and acceptance with the types of events that we put on. A few years ago they may have been frowned upon.
Pride flags in the front of stores, in restaurants, in doctor surgeries, it's been a big one. In a lot of the clinics there is the pride flag now, which I think is really, really important. I've seen some openly gay people on the streets, with their partners, which has also been really lovely to see, actually. And advertisements for meetups and groups. It's you know, small things, but they're sort of huge at the same time, because you just didn't see that 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So, you know, I think these little changes are you know, it's all going in the right direction.
So with all these positive changes, is there hope that Western Sydney will have a reputation of acceptance rather than homophobia? Gavin would certainly like to think so.
I hope that we will eventually change some minds, and that people will, like, I don't expect everyone to be marching in Mardi Gras with us in 5 years, but I do hope that people will offer respect and love to their fellow human beings. It's all very warm and fluffy, isn't it? But that really is the essence of what we do, and that would be wonderful if we could, you know, if we could reduce the amount of homophobia, bring up acceptance and respect of other people who are a little bit different. I think that would be ideal.